So before GST, there were lots of taxes such as customs, VAT, CST, service tax. Before GST, there were lots of taxes, many taxes. My screen is visible? Okay, 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 I get that. There were lots of taxes such as customs, VAT, CST, service tax, bunch of taxes. Now, this, matlab, I'll have to work. Suppose I'm a service provider, I was supposed to go for service tax. If I'm a service receiver, service tax. If I'm a trader, okay, I purchase goods, I sell goods, VAT. I am dealing in customs, matlab export, import. Then customs was coming into picture. Manufacturer, excise. So there were so many taxes before GST. All these taxes are replaced by GST. All these taxes are what replaced by GST. So uh, now we don't have VAT, we don't have service tax, we don't have excise, we don't have CST. We don't have any of these taxes. We have customs and we have GST. We have customs and we have GST. Now, what is customs? I want to understand little bit about customs. So, customs is long back. Let us go to our history. So, I'll take you to Britishers period and before Britishers period. So, before Britishers, we Indians were ruled by kings. There was king ruling here. So, suppose this is my one kingdom. This is my kingdom one, and this is my kingdom two. Kingdom one, kingdom two. I'm a villager. Okay, I'm a villager. I am selling fruits. Okay, so what I do, there was bazaar day earlier, right? Bazaar day. So Monday will be bazaar day in one village, Tuesday will be bazaar day in another village. So all villagers will come on that day and they'll sell their goods. The people will come for purchasing. There will be little entertainment, fun fair, and such type of things. So what I'm doing is I'm a fruit seller. So today I sold here, and next day what I'll do is I'll walk and I'll go to my to next kingdom, that is next village. But before entering this second village and selling my goods there, okay, in second village I had to pay certain amount of money, okay, to king. Then only king of that village will allow me to sell my goods. He is like, you are earning from my village, so you'll have to pay something to me. So I had to pay some amount to king of that village. That was known as rivas. That was known as rivas. Britishers came. Britishers saw this rule, and Britishers continued this rule. So anything coming from outside India, anything coming from outside India to India will have to pay certain amount of duty, okay, known as rivers. Britishers converted the same word into customs. Same word into customs. So we have customs. Customs is nothing, pay duty while bringing goods inside and while taking goods outside. So import, export. And if you have noticed, we have duty drawback on exports, but we don't have on imports, right? Import duty is always considered as an expense. So import duty is the duty to, if I'm bringing any items, any goods inside my country, I have to pay that. So this is customs. Okay. Now coming to GST, let us take one example related to GST. So now I have two taxes, GST and customs. So we went through the history of customs. Now let us understand GST and then start with first chapter of GST. That is indirect taxation of new syllabus. Now here, if you see in this uh, GST, let us try to understand GST with the help of an example. I have my classes. Suppose near station, I have my classes. Okay, near to the station, I have my classes. Okay, near station, I have my classes. So these classes, no, there were, I guess, there were two classrooms. One was big and one was small. Two classrooms. So what happened here? In this classroom, no, I went for painting. Then I purchased benches. Then paying fees to teachers. Then I purchased paint boxes. Paint boxes. Okay. So while purchasing paint boxes, I paid VAT. While painting, I paid service tax. While purchasing benches, I paid VAT. But while paying fees to teachers, I was supposed to pay service tax. So, and I am a service provider. I am what? I am a service provider. I provide classes, so services. So, as a taxpayer, I'm supposed to pay service tax to the government. Okay. So now, wherever I have paid service tax, that amount I can consider for my set off of taxation while paying tax to government. Suppose I am paying 1 lakh rupees tax to government, okay, and already paid 20,000 rupees. So 80,000 rupees I have to pay. Already paid 20,000 rupees on painting and paying to teachers. So now I'm supposed to pay 80,000. Service tax amount, whatever I have paid, I can take that as set off. But what about VAT? What about VAT? I cannot take set off. VAT will be expense for me. I cannot take set off of that. It will be expense for me. So what, suppose I've paid 45,000 as VAT. VAT is expense for me. So that was past scenario. Now I'll replace service tax with GST, VAT with GST. Benches I purchased, I paid GST. Painting, I paid GST. Now, as a service provider, also I'm supposed to pay GST. Okay. So see, everywhere what I did, I went for GST. Okay, I've replaced GST. So now, if I'm supposed to pay 1 lakh rupees, okay, as GST, and I have already paid 80,000 on benches. matlab I'm aggregating everything on benches, on paint boxes, paying fees to teachers. So my expenses came down. I are now as government as tax I have to pay only 20,000 rupees, right? So this is the impact of GST. My expenses got reduced because I'm paying tax on goods or I'm paying tax on services. Anything. Whether I'm a service provider or I am a manufacturer or I am a trader, it can be set off. Okay. So this is GST. Let us start with our chapter. So it was only for the good of his subjects, that is kingdom, people, that he collected taxes from them. It was only for the good of his subjects, that is general public kingdom, that he collected taxes from them, just as sun draws moisture from the earth to give it back a thousand folds. Kalidas in Raghuvansh, eulogizing King Dalit. So Kalidas, Mr. Kalidas, he is a good guy. He keeps on giving concepts related to taxation. In a welfare state, government takes primary responsibility for the welfare of its citizens. Yes, in a welfare state means country like India, what government keeps on doing, government keeps on taking primary responsibility for the welfare of its citizens, as in matters of health, care, education, employment, infrastructure, social security, other development needs. To facilitate these, government needs a revenue. Taxation is the primary source of revenue to the government for incurring such public welfare expenditure. In other words, government is taking taxes from the public through its one hand and through another hand it incurs welfare expenses. So government is taking taxes from us, and with the help of that taxation amount, what is government doing? Government is incurring welfare expenses such as polio, health expenses, building of bridges, train cleaning of roads, and etc. In other words, government is okay. However, no one enjoys handing over his hard earned money to the government to pay taxes. Thus, taxes are compulsory or enforced contribution to the government revenue by public. Okay, taxes are compulsory. You cannot save yourself from paying taxes. Government may levy taxes on income, business profits, or wealth, or add it to the cost of some goods, services, and transaction. What government does? Government levies taxes on certain income, on business profits, on wealth, or adds it to the cost of some goods, such as GST. I guess we have discussed all the possible provisions. A quick read, then we'll go for basic reasons to impose taxation. Next, to provide basic facilities for every citizens of the country. So, what are the basic reasons? There are three reasons to provide basic facilities for every citizen of the country. Whatever money is received by the government from taxation is spent by it for welfare of the citizens of the country. Correct. So, basic reason to impose taxation for the welfare of the society, to provide basic facilities for every citizen of the country, welfare of society. Whatever money is received by the government from taxation is spent by it for the welfare of the citizens. It is spent by it for the welfare of the citizens of the country. Some of the services provided by the government are healthcare, electricity, roads, education system, free houses for the poor, water supply, police, firefighters, judiciary system, disaster relief, taking care of bridges, and other things of public welfare. So this is what? To provide basic facilities for every citizens of the country. That is first reason for imposition of taxation. Next, finance multiply government. All the local governments of the state like village panchayats, block panchayats and municipal corporations receive funds from finance commission. All the local governments, all the local governments of the state like village panchayats, block panchayats and municipal corporations, what they do, they receive funds from finance commission. Okay, then third one is protection of life. Taxpayers receive the protection of life and wealth from the government in case of external aggression, internal armed rebellion, or any other situation. Correct. So we get protection of life because government helps us in case of external aggression, internal armed rebellion, or any other situation, war-like situation, a bomb blast, or any attacks. So government uses that amount there as well. Then comes administration of tax laws. Administrative hierarchy of tax law is as follows. So, what is administrative hierarchy? How does the tax law system works? First, both of the boards have been constituted under Central Board of Revenue Act. Both of the boards, both, both means what? Who? Direct tax board and indirect tax board. Direct tax board and indirect tax board. See here, they have mentioned Central Board of Direct Taxes, Central Board of Indirect Taxes. Both of the boards have been constituted under Central Board of Revenue Act 1963. Under Central Board of Revenue Act 1963. So they are covered under what? Central Board of Revenue Act. CBDT deals with levy and collection of direct taxes, whereas matters relating to levy and collection of indirect taxes are dealt by CBIC, that is Central Board of Indirect Taxes and Customs. Okay, tax point. First one is both of the boards have been constituted. Both means what? CBDT and CBIC. DT means what? Direct tax. Central. Why not state? Taxation, be it GST, VAT was state tax, but GST is not a state tax. It's a combination of central portion and state, CGST, SGST. So, Central Board of Indirect Taxes, Central Board of Direct Taxes. There are two boards under Board of Revenue Act. CBDT deals with levy and collection of all direct taxes, whereas matters relating to levy and collection of central indirect taxes are dealt by CBIC. Come on, indirect taxes. A quick read, then we'll go for next one. Now, next, features of indirect taxation, concept and features of indirect taxation. Very, very important answer. Very important. Tax on goods and services. Indirect tax is levied at the time of supply or manufacture or purchase or sale or import or export of goods. Indirect tax is levied at the time of supply or manufacture or purchase or sales or import or export. All the points we have discussed. Supply. I am supplying goods from Bangalore to Gujarat. Okay, so indirect tax is levied at this time of supply or manufacturer. I am preparing, I'm manufacturing. Manufacturing means man made. I'm manufacturing water bottles at the time of manufacturing. I'm purchasing. I'm purchasing from Mr. A, selling to Mr. B. I'm purchasing, or I'm selling, or I'm importing, or I'm exporting. Further, it is also levied on supply. Okay. Burden. Tax being indirect tax paid by the seller shall be recovered by the seller from the buyer. Thus, one can say that burden of indirect tax is shifted from seller to buyer and ultimately borne by consumers of such goods or services. So, burden. Here also we were discussing, right? It is borne by ultimate consumer. Ultimate consumer will pay tax, but it was paid by different people, right? Ultimately manufacturer paid, wholesaler paid, retailer paid. Burden was shifted from one person to another person. Tax being indirect tax paid by the seller shall be recovered by the seller from the buyer. Thus, one can say that burden of indirect tax is shifted from seller to buyer and ultimately borne by consumer of such goods or services. Inflationary in nature. Inflationary in nature means it keeps on rising. My indirect taxation keeps on rising, which will ultimately give a rise effect to the cost of goods and services. So, cost of goods and services increases due to levy of indirect tax. Thus, indirect taxes promote inflation. So, suppose my cost of service, I am giving one lecture, value of one lecture is suppose 1000 rupees. Now, to this 1000 rupees, I'll add 18% GST. Okay, to this 1000 rupees, what I'll do, I'll add 18% GST, 1180 rupees. So, this is my final amount. Okay, this is my final amount. So, this amount is nothing but it becomes little expensive, inflationary to people because to my cost prior to my fees amount, I added tax. Social welfare. It is useful tool to promote social welfare by checking the consumption of harmful goods or sin goods through higher rate of tax. So suppose in tobacco or alcohol for human consumption is not covered under GST, but still it has taxation. The taxation is always at a higher rate, so that social welfare is promoted. It is useful tool to promote social welfare by checking the consumption of harmful goods or sin goods through higher rate of tax. Wider tax base, majority of goods and services are liable to indirect tax with very low threshold limits. So tax base is much wider in case of indirect tax in compared to direct tax. Wider tax, indirect taxation has major widespread. Okay, majority of goods are attracted towards goods and services, I would say, are attracted towards indirect taxation compared to direct taxation. I am not paying tax. I'm not paying direct tax. Why? I'm not crossing that threshold limit. My income is only 5 lakhs. It is only 2.5. It is only 7 lakhs. Okay, but irrespective of income, if you are purchasing 10 rupees biscuit packet, then also you have to pay tax. Even if you are not earning, you have to pay indirect taxation, GST. Regressive in nature. All persons, whether it is rich or poor, will bear equal breadth of tax, burden of tax on goods or services consumed. Even Mr. Dhirubhai Ambani or Anil Ambani or Mukesh Ambani will go to purchase biscuit packet, they'll also have to pay tax. And even I as a normal middleman person will have to go and pay tax if I purchase packet of biscuit. So all persons will bear equal breadth of tax on goods or services consumed by them irrespective of their liability. In other words, indirect tax does not create any difference between rich and poor. Poor people are also required to pay equal percentage. Uh, Sorry, I missed out. Consumed by them irrespective of their ability. In other words, indirect tax does not create any difference between rich and poor. Poor people are also required to pay percentage of tax on certain goods and services of mass consumption. Thus, it may increase disparities between rich and poor. No pinch. Seller does not perceive a direct pinch of tax as it is recovered by him from buyer and then he is paying to the government. On the other hand, since it is inbuilt in the price of the goods, the ultimate payer, that is buyer, pay it without knowing that he is paying any tax to the government. So it will not pinch to the seller because it is not having major impact on his pocket. So it will not pinch to the payer. A quick read, then we'll go for next. Very much popular answer in our exam and favorite question of the examiner. Difference between direct and indirect tax. There are two types of taxes: direct tax and indirect tax. Tax of which incidence and impact fall on the same person is known as direct tax, such as income tax. On the other hand, tax of which incidence and impact fall on two different persons is known as indirect tax, such as GST. On one person, I am earning a professional fees of 1000 rupees, I am supposed to pay tax, that is direct tax. Manufacturer made that biscuit and I have consumed, so he paid tax and I paid to manufacturer. So two persons are involved, GST. It means in case of direct tax, tax is recovered directly from the assessee who ultimately bears such taxes, whereas in case of indirect tax, tax is recovered from the assessee who passes such burden to another person and is ultimately borne by consumer of such goods or services. In a tabular form, they have distinguished incidence and impact fall on same person, incidence and impact fall on two different persons. Assessee himself bears such taxes, thus it pinches the taxpayer. Tax is recovered from the assessee who passes such burden to another person, thus it does not pinch the taxpayer. Levied on income, levied on goods and services, thus this type of tax leads to inflation and have wider base. So I guess all the 3 points which we discussed are covered by us. Example income tax, example GST and custom duty. Progressive in nature, that is, higher tax are levied on persons earning higher income and vice versa. Regressive in nature, all persons are equal, will bear equal wrath, that is burden of the tax on goods or services consumed by them irrespective of their ability. Useful tool to promote social welfare by checking the consumption of harmful goods or sin goods through higher rate of taxation. A quick read, mark this as very, very important, then we'll go for next one. Diagrammatically also they have presented. Again, in a tabular manner they have presented. I'll give a quick read. Direct tax is referred to as tax levied on person's income and wealth and is paid directly to the government. Again, same point is repeated. I am directly paying to the government. Indirect taxation is referred to as tax levied on a person who consumes the goods and services and is paid indirectly to the government. Nature progressive in nature, regressive in nature. Incidence falls on same person, falls on different person. Example income tax, example GST custom duty. Evasion, tax evasion is possible, here tax evasion is not possible, little difficult in indirect taxation. Inflation, direct tax helps in reducing down the inflation, whereas indirect tax helps in pulling up the inflation. Imposition and collection, imposed on and collected from the same person, imposed on and collected from consumers of goods and services but paid and deposited by the assessee. Burden cannot be shifted, can be shifted. Event, taxable income of the assessee, supply of goods and services. So, what is event? Event is I am earning 1000 rupees as professional fees. My income crossed 2 lakh 50 or whatever is the basic amount. I'm supposed to pay taxation. In case of indirect taxation, I am selling you goods. Irrespective of my income, I have to pay tax. Supply of goods and services is the triggering point here. Again, a quick read, then we'll go for next one. Now they are taking us to the history of indirect taxation. Little background they are covering here. It is very interesting. Constitution of India is the supreme law of India. उसके सामने कोई नहीं आता. Supreme law of India. Any tax law which is not in conformity with the constitution is called ultra virus. I am not obeying that rule. Any tax law which is not in conformity with the constitution is called ultra virus. The constitution and held as illegal and void. Article 246, read with Schedule 7, divides subject matter of law made by legislature into three categories. First one is list 1, list 2, and list 3. So, suppose I don't obey any rule, any regulations of the constitution of the act, it will be considered as illegal. Void means illegal. Article 246, read with Schedule 7, is guiding us for three categories. First one is union list, that is governed by central government. State list, governed by state government. And concurrent list, where union and state both the government plays role. Following major entries in the respective list enable the legislator to make law on the matter. So union list and state list. So they have given you under union list they have given you 3-4 entries, and under state list they have given you 3-4 entries. Entry 82, taxes on income other than agricultural income, that is income tax. Then 83, duties of customs including export duties, that is custom act. Then 84, duties on excise on tobacco and other goods manufactured or produced in India except alcoholic liquor for human consumption. Opium, Indian hemp and other narcotic drugs and narcotics but including medicinal and toilet preparations. So based on these entries what we do is we levy taxation. So they have mentioned about income tax, other taxes, income tax is levied on all other than agricultural income. Customs is levied on all the products, including export duty. They have covered here under Customs Act. Then entry 84 is related to excise. Duties of excise is levied on everything. So on all products are covered, all those products are mentioned here. Entry 86, wealth tax. Okay, if you have gold, land, individuals, companies, so here it is levied. Then you have entry 92A, taxes on sale or purchase of goods other than newspapers. So newspapers are not taxed. Other than that, everything is taxed. Where such sale or purchase takes place in the course of interstate trade or commerce, that is central sales tax. Newspapers and flags, Indian national flag, is not taxed. Entry 92C, tax on services. 97 is, see, here you can see A and C. So it was not there earlier, it is added. It was only 92. Now they have added additionally from behind, separately they have added 92A and C. Wherever you see this way, no, A, B, C, D, they have added separately. 97. Any other matter not enumerated in list 2 or list 3, including any tax not mentioned in either of those lists. Okay. Same way you have state list, your state level VAT, agricultural taxes on agricultural income, professional tax, PT. You must have heard PT, professional tax. Okay. Duties of excise on the following goods manufactured or produced in state and countervailing duties. So a list of entries are given here. You can give a read, then we'll go for next.